There's a moment almost everyone has experienced. You're standing in a group of people, maybe in a meeting, a family dinner, or just an innocent chat, and suddenly someone says something that makes you freeze. Your heart drops, your face heats up, your mind goes blank. You want to respond with something sharp, clever, and perfectly timed, but you don't. Or worse, you say something that just minutes later you wish you could take back. And then for days after, you replay that moment in your head. I should have said this. If only I had stayed calm. Why did I let them do that to me? If you're nodding, comment 1. But here's something almost no one tells you. The way you've been taught to deal with embarrassing situations actually makes you lose from the start. Not because you're weak, not because you're slow, but because you've never been shown how truly strong people handle it. And here's the twist. The person who tried to embarrass you actually just handed you something powerful. Something that if you know how to use it, can make you almost untouchable in any room you walk into. But most people miss it. When someone tries to embarrass you in front of others, what are they really doing? Imagine a child in a classroom, deliberately ruining their classmate's drawing, then looking around to see if anyone laughs. They're not doing it because they're strong. They're doing it because they're afraid of being ignored, afraid no one notices them, afraid that if they don't make noise, they'll disappear. Adults are the same. They just use more sophisticated words. The person who made that sarcastic remark in the meeting didn't do it because you were wrong. It might be because you were doing well. You were being heard. You said something that caught the room's attention, and for a brief second, they felt invisible, and they couldn't handle that. Sometimes just your presence, the way you are, is enough to trigger something fragile inside them. Being embarrassed is rarely about you. It almost always reveals the person who did it. Once you truly understand this, something inside you shifts. You stop taking it personally. You stop shrinking. You stop asking, what did I do wrong? If you've ever blamed yourself after situations like this, comment 2. The biggest mistake most people make is reacting immediately. A sharp comment is thrown at you, and you instantly throw one back. Or you go completely silent, look down, or laugh awkwardly to fill the gap. All 3 are losing moves, because when you react quickly, you're reacting from emotion, not awareness. And those emotions, shame, anger, confusion, hurt, none of them are good advisors. It's like pouring water on a grease fire. You think you're putting it out, but you're actually making it burn stronger. In those moments, people aren't really focused on who started it. They're watching. Who loses control first? Don't be that person. The hardest move, but also the smartest one, is to pause. Just one beat, one breath, 2 seconds. Not because you're frozen, not because you don't know what to say, but because you're choosing. You're telling yourself, I will not react from fear. Calm is not weakness. Calm is power. Think about people you truly respect. When they're challenged, they don't flinch. When someone tries to put them down, they don't rush. They might smile slightly, say one short sentence, or even say nothing. But the whole room feels it. This person is not easily shaken. They're not calm because they're unaffected. They're calm because they don't perform their pain in front of an audience. That's a skill. Many people think the best way to handle embarrassment is to deliver a perfect comeback, a line that silences the other person, a line that makes the whole room go, wow, sounds appealing, right? But here's the truth. The moment you choose to fight back, you've stepped into a game, a competition. And a competition always requires 2 people. The moment you respond, you're telling the room that this person's opinion matters enough for you to engage, when it doesn't. Sometimes, saying less than expected is the strongest move. Silence, when used correctly, is not emptiness. It's pressure. It's weight. It leaves the other person standing there, holding a weapon that suddenly has no effect. Imagine this. Someone just tried to put you down. You look at them, without avoiding, without rushing, your face calm. Then you continue what you were doing, as if nothing happened. You just won. No noise, no drama, but completely. Why is this so powerful? Because the person trying to embarrass you doesn't actually want to win the argument. They want your reaction. That reaction is the reward. When you remove the reward, They lose the reason to continue. And more importantly, everyone around you sees that it didn't land. That's when the power shifts. This doesn't mean you should never say anything. There will be situations where staying silent looks like agreement. But when you do speak, keep it short, calm, no explaining, no defending. Something simple like, "Yeah, I'll take a look at that later." Then go back to what you were doing. No anger, no rush, no dragging it out. That one sentence does three things at once. It shows everyone you understood what happened. It tells the other person their hit didn't land. And it sends a clear signal you're not someone who breaks under pressure. But here's the part almost everyone overlooks, and it's the most important part. The reason you feel affected isn't just about that moment. It's about a weak point that already existed inside you. When someone says you're not good enough, and it hurts, ask yourself, why did that touch me? When someone jokes about your appearance, your job, your money, and it lingers, be honest. Why did it stick? Not because they're right, but because a part of you isn't fully certain about yourself yet. That's the open door anyone can walk through. The long-term game is to close that door, not by pretending to be confident, not by repeating things you don't believe, but through real action. Finish what you've been avoiding. Build the skills you keep postponing. Have the hard conversations you keep dodging. Show up on the days you don't feel like it. Every time you do something difficult and follow through, you create evidence. And that evidence cannot be taken away by words. Real confidence doesn't come from thinking you're good. It comes from knowing what you've done. When you know who you are, what you're building, what you've overcome, other people's words won't stick to you anymore. They touch and slide off. Not because you're numb, but because inside, you're solid. And one more thing. This will completely change how you see people who try to embarrass you. Not everyone deserves your reaction. Some do it because they fear you. Some because they carry unresolved pain. Some because it's a habit, and no one has ever checked them. But the common thread, they are not acting from strength. They are acting from fear, hurt, or habit. And those things are not worthy of your energy. If you've made it this far, and feel even a small shift inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Drop a 1 or 2 inches the comments so I know where you are on this journey. The next part will help you completely break free from the feeling of being affected in any situation. There is a very simple principle, but if you truly understand and apply it, the way you move through every conversation will completely change. You are not obligated to react just because someone wants you to. It sounds ordinary, but think about it again. How many times have you been pulled into a situation just because you felt like I have to say something? Just because you felt uncomfortable and thought that if you didn't react, you were being weak? No. The truth is, every time you react in a way that gets pulled out of you, you are handing control of your emotions to someone else. And they don't even have to try very hard. You need to start seeing every situation as a filter. Not everything people say requires a response. Not every comment needs to be handled. Not every moment is worth your pause. Ask yourself one simple question before reacting. Does this person deserve my energy? If the answer is no, then your silence is not losing. It is selection. Intentional silence is a form of power that very few people have the discipline to hold. There are people who go through life only knowing how to make others feel smaller so they can feel bigger. They will test you, test your limits, test whether you're easy to trigger. If you always react, they will continue. If you argue, they will drag it out. If you lose control, they've already won. But if you don't give them what they want, they will stop. Not because they've changed, but because that method no longer works on you. But let's be honest. There will be times, even when you understand all of this, you still get triggered. You still feel uncomfortable. Your face still heats up. You still want to set things straight. That's human. No one avoids it. The issue is not whether you feel emotions. The issue is whether you act on them. Emotions are not commands. You can feel hurt and still choose not to react immediately. You can feel angry and still remain calm on the outside. That's when you start controlling instead of being controlled. One of the biggest shifts you can make is learning to be slower than your emotions. You don't need to be fast. You don't need to be sharp. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to slow down one beat. That moment is where you take your power back. Think back to a time you were embarrassed. But now imagine it differently. Someone says something to put you down. The room goes quiet. All eyes turn to you. But this time, you don't rush. You look at them. No avoidance, no tension. Just looking. One beat, two beats. Then you give a slight smile. Not an awkward one, but the kind of smile from someone unaffected. You continue your conversation, as if nothing happened. No extra words, no explanations, no proving anything. That is the version of you that no one can shake. If you want to become that person, comment too. But to do that, you need to build something inside you that no one can see. A foundation, not from words, not from watching a few videos, but from what you do every day. You say you want to be more confident, but you keep delaying important things. You say you want respect, but you don't keep promises to yourself. So, how can you trust yourself? Confidence is not a feeling. It is accumulated evidence. Every time you do what you said you would, you lay one brick. Every time you push past laziness, you reinforce the foundation. And at some point, you will stand on something strong enough that no one can knock you down with a few words. There's a truth that's a bit hard to hear, but you need to know it. The person who embarrassed you before might try again. Not because you're weak, but because they don't yet know that you've changed. And next time will be the real test. Not to prove anything to them, but to prove to yourself that you're no longer who you used to be. When that moment comes, you'll have two choices. React the old way, or stay grounded in your new calm. One side is reaction. The other is strength. Which side you choose will define you. And as you begin to change, something interesting will happen. The people who used to make you tense will start losing their impact. Not because they disappear, but because you no longer respond the way they expect. From your new perspective, they become smaller. Not because you look down on them, but because you have grown. Remember this, not everyone deserves a role in your story. Some people should only be a short passage, a lesson, a moment you move past. Don't make them the center, just because they once hurt you. You have the right to choose who stays in your space and who doesn't. If you're still here listening, maybe you're still holding on to a few old moments. A time you were called out in front of others. A time you didn't know what to say. A time you felt yourself shrink. Those memories may still feel sharp, but they do not define you. They are just an older version of you who didn't know what you know now. You are not what they tried to make you look like. You are what you choose to do. After that moment ends, and right now, you're still here, still listening, still choosing to understand yourself more clearly. That already says a lot. So from now on, when someone tries to embarrass you, don't rush to react. Don't try to prove anything. Don't jump into a game you don't need to play. Pause, look at them, and choose how you want to show up. Less than expected, but far more grounded. If you see yourself in this, comment 1. If you're starting to understand and want to change, comment 2. And if you want to go deeper into why some people always seem to target you and how to become the kind of person they can't touch, like this video, subscribe to the channel and wait for the next one.